Hey, what's up, guys? Wanted to make a quick video explaining the plan I had for this year and how it's looking to be completely going to be changing. Changed due to the whole virus situation. And this is totally to do with the agency structure. So early on in the year, right off the bat, if you guys remember, I got like 4 SEOs. And the reason I got, just start of the year getting a bunch of people is because I finally made the decision that I'm gonna try again and get somebody on board that is somewhat of a higher level, you could say. Not just a VA, but they have an understanding of SEO. They can do some of the higher level tasks such as on page, technical SEO, has a holistic understanding of how things work when it comes to Google. So they have that foundation laid and they can do a good job. Now, my plan was initially to get these 4 people and then, let go of maybe at least 2 of them, right? Keep one of them as more like a higher level strategy. And then he would be like jumping in and out of implementation. By strategy, I mean like he would actually be involved, let's say sometimes going through certain courses or concepts and bringing it down to SOPs for the VAs to follow. And then I would have somebody who's actually like a full-time implementer, like doing on page, going and actually building pages on the client's site, depending on keywords there are that he can take, the client can take advantage of. That's like low competition and has some search volume, like more like blog terms, on and on and on. So that was my idea. Now, without detracting from the point of the video, just to give you guys a little bit background, the reason I went about it in that way is because sometimes what I realized is it's pretty difficult. If it's not your core skill set to hire, which it is not for me, it's pretty difficult to sometimes make a decision on who's going to be a good, reliable team member, right? Not only do they have a like overall understanding of how SEO works, but they're also going to be hardworking. I've seen a pattern where I see the people who are really hardworking a lot of times are not that great. I don't know why, but it just happened to me over and over again. I've seen that pattern when I'm trying to hire good SEOs. By hardworking, I mean they will implement. They'll show up. They'll clock in at the same time, and they are reliable. They'll they won't make excuses about their family member being sick and all this kind of stuff every other day, and they will show up and they're reliable. They'll come to work, but their understanding is not that high. Whereas on the other hand, some people who has like very good understanding, they have good understanding of SEO, on page, technical SEO, all this stuff, holistically can put things together and be reliable in the technical aspects of performing the task without breaking anything. They're good on that, but they'll be super slow. They will maybe just do like it'll take them like 2 days to do one on page, and then they will like not really clock in on time, or sometimes they won't even show up for the day, and then next day they'll let me know like, oh, something happened. So anyways, because of that, I decided that, okay, I'm going to go in this, I'm going to just get a bunch of people that I think is good, shortlist it, and then just hire like a bunch of people. Even though I'll waste some money up front, I'll get to my decision faster and be able to then just let go of the people who don't work out. And the other reason I did this is because sometimes I realized that with kind of hires like this, like you try to take it slowly and you can just waste like a whole year and you won't have somebody, right? Like you get somebody who you think is good, but not really sure. You give it like, 2 or 3 months, and then let's say it doesn't really work out. It's kind of meh. So then you have to go and reactivate your hiring efforts and get the next person and then go with them another 2 to 3 months. You're already 6 months in and you might not have had your person. So just a little tip out there, whenever you can, I would say you can do that way of like throwing money at it and getting to the decision faster compared to trying to be saving a little bit too much, and then it takes you way too long. And then with the other parts of the business not like moving parts coming down at you, you might even let go of your whole effort of hiring in the first place and growing your business. Anyways, so there we go. About 5 minutes in the video, I gave you guys a background of like what my plan was at and why I did what I did. Now, with this virus situation, how does that change? And this is where it gets really discouraging, because as business owners, we take risks, right? Within those risks of being in business, whatever, one of the biggest risks that I've seen you can take is when you invest in people. It's a big risk. When you bring a new person on your team, starting from the risks of, are they reliable? Are they a good person? Like if you let them go, early on more I used to have that, now not so much, but I used to be afraid that they would try to do some harm to client sites and stuff like that. But there's that. Then there's risk of them possibly like contacting your clients after. That's more if you're hiring people in the US. Generally what I've seen in offshore, people don't do that, but there's little risks like that. Once you get into it a bit more, you realize that those are kind of like just preliminary fears you have. It's not really that real. But the real risks that actually come in is your time, because when you hire somebody, for a new role like that, you're going to have to spend time to get on board them and really take them through the training. Most of us don't have really systems put for onboarding new high-level people to that extent, I would assume, right? It's not like most of us are like huge agencies where we have HR department and everything like that. Generally, we have systems for the lower level, let's say VA and stuff like that. But then somebody comes on of who's going to be doing tasks that you used to do. It's going to usually require you to spend a couple hours at least per week with them. And in my case, I was spending like good amount of time. Since I got back from the vacation with these people, I was spending at least like 4 hours, 3 to 4 hours right in the beginning of the day, working with these guys, right? Working with the SEOs, going through the process and giving them certain tasks and just like keeping them accountable and just seeing how the whole thing is moving together. And that's a risk. That's your time you're spending, your core time, like your energy in the beginning of the day, core time. You could be using that for getting sales, and you're now having to spend that to develop a team member who in the long term is going to be a huge asset to the business and to the overall system. And going back to that point, as business owners, we take risks, and one of the biggest risks is these people. It takes a good amount of courage to do things properly, right? To break away from, if you're a company that's just like, let's say, outsourcing right now and you only have a couple clients, that's okay. Eventually, it's going to get to a point where you want to bring things in-house. At least the way I see things, you want to have more control as you grow your agency so you can have a chance at delivering at a higher caliber, whatever it may be. Just having more control and also, lower costs in the long term and more reliable full-time people who care about the agency specifically, instead of just, like outsourcing delivery, you could say, right? And breaking away from that idea, I wasn't really outsourcing at any point other than like certain basic stuff like citation stuff. I was never really outsourcing much for the agency to start with, but I'm just giving examples so you guys can relate to which stage you're in. Whichever you're at, whether it be you have one or two VAs and they're doing most of the work and then you're doing most of the high level work, or you're just outsourcing most of the work, whichever you are, getting to this next stage of full-time higher level people who are accountable, that you're spending a good amount of money on, not just $500 per month VAs or something, but a couple $1,000s, let's say anywhere from $2,000 to $5,000, I would say per month. On the higher end, if you're doing it locally; on the lower end, $1,500 to $2,000 per month if you're doing it offshore. But they're still higher, much more expensive than your typical, let's say, VA in Philippines. And when you're going that direction, as the proper way to do it, in my view of how to grow the agency, the proper way to do it and grow is to bring on more accountable higher level people and add them to your team. What happened with this situation is that people who were doing this got caught in the middle. Right? So if you kept it small, right? Let's say if you are keeping an agency that's making around 30, 40K a month, let's say 30K a month, right? if you want to maintain it there, it's actually to maintain, it's not that much work. Once you have your initial systems in place and you want to just keep those clients and do a good job for them, it becomes pretty easy to do a pretty good job for them because you're focusing on that client base, and a lot of the nitty-gritty work is done by 1 or 2 VAs. You're doing all the higher level work. A lot of them are just like one time, such as like on page and things like that. And you take care of that. After that, you're just making sure they're getting, good links and whatnot, or whatever your delivery system is, making sure everything is going and staying on track and keeping the agency there. If you are in that stage, 10K to 30K per month, let's say, and this situation happened with the virus, you wouldn't have gotten hit as hard just with the things that I'm talking about. Obviously, depends what niche you're in and stuff like that. But just think about this agency structure for this video, right? You wouldn't have gotten hit that hard because your margin, let's say your profit margin is very high, more than 60-70%, because most of your clients, you're just maintaining and keeping that them at a same place. You're not trying to aggressively grow too much further. You're trying to maintain and keep it there and make sure you're doing a good job while you're keeping your profit margins very high. But then the next stage after that, going from, let's say, 30K a month to 100K a month, that road right there, one, it's not easy. And two, there's so much that needs to happen, right? You need to get out of your comfort zone and get real people who can, actually run the business, without you really being there, or you doing like minimal, like just leading and making some decisions, but they can manage your team underneath them, and potentially one of the person could even hire and take interviews of new people to replace stuff like that. When you want to go that direction and hit 7 figures, and you're on that path, then when this virus thing came, that was very damaging. Because now I'm stuck here, and now I got hit, and I'm thinking like, man, all that energy I put, all that and this is not just like since like January I've been preparing for this for some time, and I've been attempting to hire people since midway last year, right? But what is discouraging is that now in my as I'm looking back, and I'm like, oh my God, man, all that effort I put of trying to hire people, doing it the right way, right? Doing it the way like of, just going really hard and trying to really grow this company, I got bashed in because now I had to let go of this extra people, those extra SEOs. It doesn't make sense when I'm losing a couple clients a week for me to keep all this extra fat. So I had to, I was going to let go of, I already let go of 2 of them, but I even had to let go of the ones I kept, right? Boom, that's gone. All that time is gone. And then now you're having certain thoughts about, oh, should I just like maintain this and, keep it where it is? Or like, temporarily it's like on defense and saving mode, so you don't lose your whole agency. But after this is over, what are you going to do? Are you going to try to grow it again? Or wait until there's a clear point where this entire virus situation is done and then try to grow and maintain till then? Or would you just say that, no, let's just jump it back in after you lose the clients that you lose, and then get to a point where it's stable, and then just like get back in? These kind of decisions, pre-virus and after virus, is different. Because if you got bashed in, you're probably, I'm a lot more scared to go that route again, to really, grow the business and go to the next level during this situation, even after things kind of fix, but it's not clear if it's fixed. These are the things that you're gonna have to think about, right? I'm kind of losing my way to explain it properly, but hope you follow, right? Another way to think of it is like this, and I'll give some examples with other agencies like this. The people who invested in their business properly, or you can say went hard. I don't want to say properly because, who am I to say what's proper, maybe to some people outsourcing all the way is the way to go, whatever it may be. But the people who really went in hard and, spent the time in trying to do the hard things, hire the right people and stuff like that, got hit the hardest because you got caught right in the middle. And when you try to do these things, your profit margins are way slimmer and you're working way harder in the game in the future. That, oh, once I get this team member and he's my right hand, then the delivery will be so much smoother because they can dictate the whole thing. They can make all these decisions. The other team members in that whole sector can come to them. The delivery side, right? Whatever it may be. If it's in the sales side, oh, if I get one more person who's with me, who can sell, who can close, that's insanely valuable. That's actually probably harder than getting that delivery person, to be honest. That's a very hard thing to do. Getting that, A1 person who can close with the same ratio that you can and have that understanding of your product like you do. Anyways, but the point is, that's very enticing. And these things take a lot of energy and a lot of skill and hard work, right? And it costs, it's also expensive. Like, get a sales guy, a proper sales guy. And they're generally, you're gonna spend money on it. You're gonna have to give them some kind of base, $300, $500 a week, until they get to a point where you can see if they're good or not. And and even if you let them go, on the books, it might seem like, oh yeah, but if you only try them out for like a month or two, it's good. You spend about $2,000 to $4,000 to find out. But the energy it takes to onboard and train and get them on board properly, and the time it takes, and then let's say it doesn't work, you have to try to reactivate the hiring position again. And all throughout this time, you have to realize you're sacrificing clients that you can just close, right? That's where it comes to be, right? Like for me, if I come to a point, I get a client, okay, I have to do a sales call. I can go and then close it. But instead of me doing it, sacrificing the lead by having somebody else give a shot so they can learn and so I can see what they did wrong, that's difficult. You're literally losing money for the future gain of hiring this person and getting this rock star in your team so that they can crush it in the long term. You guys follow me? So there I gave two scenarios in the SEO, let's say the delivery department, and then I gave in like the sales department, right? And embarking in these things are the right things to do. In my view of things, is the right things, right? To grow your business to the next level, take those risks. Work your ass off. Train that person and try again and again and again, and it fails. And when the next person fails, and you'll get better at determining who's worth you spending your time on, right? Basically, who's hiring in the first place. And you'll get better at onboarding and training the people and all this stuff. And eventually it'll come to a point where you have a very good system to onboard the good talent, and then also giving that talent a good shot to become successful so they can stay with the company for the long term. These are the right way to go about it. But with this situation, that crushed it. That crushed it. So what do you do? A popular guy for this would be Juan Moreno. He's one of the guys I would say who really invests in his business, full on. The guy hired I think he has like a team of 10 people locally, and he really goes in hard. I bet his margins are really low, but he fully invests in that direction of growing a company and having A-level players, and that whole kind of idea, right? Instead of like just kind of staying somewhat small and outsourcing and keeping high margins for the short term, like that. I mean, he takes it harder than me. I would say I'm somewhere in the middle, right? He takes it like really hard. Like he probably has twice my overhead, maybe even 3 times my overhead with his office and everything. Whereas I keep it somewhat lean and try to invest in the things that I know for sure is gonna make a big difference, like such as the person. Like I wouldn't just get an office, for example, but I would invest more on a really good person and try to give them a good shot and really try to work with them and invest my time and make them feel excited about the whole thing and see if they can really make it. Both of these like Ruan got hit. I know this guy. I know that he must have had this conversation go through his head every week since the virus hit. We're like, damn, should I have like kept it smaller and kept higher margins, or like did I do the right thing? Or so, anyways, that's pretty much that. Again, just wanted to bring light to this idea. You know, everybody got hit with this. Everybody got hurt. I just wanted to show you guys how it's painful that when you were trying to make that leap happen, this completely unforeseen dumb thing came and then like ruined the plans. Right now, it kind of like feels like shit, man. Should I just like? It just feels kind of meh. Trying to even envisioning growing it as aggressively, even after this thing, even if this thing kind of like, you know, starts to subside down, it feels like it'll take some time for you to get your excitement back again. So, all right, that's pretty much it. 20-minute video. Hope this makes sense, guys. So, yeah, peace.